The Vexari soldier's blade pressed against my throat, and I did what any sensible human would do. I lied through my teeth. Wait. I'm the Queen's mate. Kill me and she'll glass your entire homeworld. The words tumbled out before my brain could catch up. The soldier froze, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Behind him, 3 more Vexari warriors exchanged uncertain glances. Their chitinous armor clicked as they shifted, suddenly unsure. I was a cargo hauler. A nobody. I'd stumbled into their ambush while delivering protein paste to a mining colony. The Vexari were at war with the Terran Confederation, and I was about to become another casualty statistic. But now they were hesitating. The Queen has no mate, the lead soldier hissed, but his blade wavered. She has refused all suitors for 30 cycles. Secret mate, I improvised, my heart hammering so loud I was sure they could hear it. Political reasons. You know how it is with royalty. The Vexari looked at each other again. Their species was obsessed with hierarchy and mating bonds. To them, harming someone's bonded partner was the ultimate taboo. Worse than murder, worse than treason. Prove it, the soldier demanded. I reached slowly into my pocket and pulled out the only thing I had, a cheap holographic pendant my sister had given me. It showed a generic star field. Royal seal, I said with absolute confidence. Quantum encrypted. Only the Queen can activate the full display. The soldier studied it, mandibles clicking. He couldn't read human technology. None of them could. We will verify this, he finally said, lowering his blade. If you lie, your death will last for days. They dragged me to their ship. I had maybe 6 hours before they reached someone who could actually check my story. 6 hours to figure out how to not die. The Vexari flagship was enormous, a cathedral of chitin and metal that hummed with barely contained aggression. They'd given me quarters instead of a cell, which meant my lie was holding. Barely. Commander Crix, the soldier who'd captured me, had become my reluctant guardian. Killing the Queen's mate would end his career. Letting a liar live would end his life. He watched me like I was a bomb that might detonate at any moment. The Queen arrives in 4 hours, he informed me, his translator rendering his clicks into flat English. She was surprisingly eager to meet you. My stomach dropped. She's coming here? You seem distressed. Should a mate not rejoice at reunion? I'm overwhelmed with emotion. I was overwhelmed with terror. It's a human thing. The next few hours were a masterclass in creative lying. When they asked about our courtship, I invented an elaborate story about a diplomatic mission, a shared love of stellar cartography, and a secret ceremony on a moon I made up on the spot. When they asked why I was on a cargo ship, I explained that I traveled incognito to avoid assassination attempts. The Vexari loved this. It fit their understanding of royal intrigue. When they asked for intimate details, I told them humans considered such questions deeply offensive, and they apologized profusely. But the questions kept coming, and each answer required 3 more lies to support it. I was building a house of cards in a hurricane. One thing confuses me, Crix said, studying me with those 4 unblinking eyes. The Queen's pheromone signature should be on you. All Vexari mates carry their partner's scent. Ice flooded my veins. Humans can't detect Vexari pheromones, I said slowly, so we use alternative bonding markers. Such as? I thought fast. Synchronized heartbeats. When true mates are near each other, their hearts beat as one. It's scientifically documented. Crix's mandibles twitched, the Vexari equivalent of raised eyebrows. We will test this when the Queen arrives. Of course they would. I spent the next hour trying to figure out if there was any possible way to fake synchronized heartbeats with someone I'd never met. There wasn't. The Queen's shuttle docked with a sound like thunder. I stood in the reception hall, surrounded by Vexari warriors in ceremonial armor, trying not to visibly shake. My lie had bought me time, but that time was up. In moments, The actual queen would walk through that door, see a random human she'd never met claiming to be her mate, and probably have me executed on the spot. The doors hissed open. She was magnificent. 8 feet tall, her carapace gleaming like polished obsidian, with eyes that held the cold intelligence of an apex predator. Crown spines rose from her head like a natural tiara, and when she moved, every Vexari in the room dropped to their knees. I dropped too. Seemed like the smart play. "Rise," she commanded, her voice resonating through the hall. "All of you." I stood on shaking legs. Her gaze found me immediately, and something flickered in those alien eyes. Surprise? Amusement? Hunger? "So," she said, approaching me with deliberate steps, "you are the human who claims to be my mate. Your Majesty, I can explain. Commander Crix." She didn't look away from me. "Leave us, all of you." The room emptied in seconds. The doors sealed. We were alone. I waited for the killing blow. Instead, she laughed. It was a strange sound, clicking and melodic, but unmistakably laughter. She circled me like a shark, studying me from every angle. "Do you know how many assassination attempts I've survived?" she asked. "How many poisonings, how many betrayals, how many mates who turned out to be enemy agents?" "I'm not an assassin," I said quickly. "I'm just a cargo hauler who panicked. I know exactly what you are." She stopped in front of me, close enough that I could see my reflection in her eyes. "I've read your file. Marcus Chen, 32 years old. No military training, no political connections, no value whatsoever as a hostage or spy. Then why? Because in 30 cycles, no one has ever had the audacity to claim me." Her mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. "My advisors parade suitors before me, princes, generals, diplomats, and they all bore me. They want my throne, my power, my armies. But you?" She leaned closer. "You just wanted to live." "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'll tell them the truth. Accept whatever punishment. You'll do no such thing." Her claw touched my chin, tilting my head up. "Do you know what my people respect above all else? Survival. .eu. Cunning. The willingness to do anything to see another sunrise." Her eyes glittered. "You bluffed your way onto my flagship with nothing but words. My generals couldn't do that with a fleet." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying your lie intrigues me, Marcus Chen." She stepped back, but her gaze held me pinned. "I've never had a human mate. I've never had a mate who chose me through desperation rather than ambition. I find myself curious." "Curious about what? About whether you can keep lying?" That smile again, sharp and dangerous. "My enemies believe I have a secret human mate. My allies are scrambling to understand the political implications. You've created chaos with a single sentence." She tilted her head. "I want to see what else you can create. You want me to keep pretending. I want you to make it real." She extended her claw. "Become my mate, Marcus Chen. Not in pretense, in truth. Survive my court, my enemies, my world. Prove that your lie was prophecy, not desperation." I stared at her claw, my mind reeling. "And if I refuse, then I tell everyone you lied, and Commander Crix gets his wish." Her eyes hardened, "But I don't think you'll refuse. You're a survivor. I can smell it on you." She wasn't wrong. The wedding was 3 weeks later. I stood before 10,000 Vexari, wearing ceremonial armor that weighed more than I did, reciting vows in a language I'd learned phonetically. Queen Vexara, I'd learned her actual name, stood beside me, resplendent and terrifying, and somehow amused by the whole situation. The Terran Confederation sent diplomats who looked like they'd swallowed live fish. A cargo hauler marrying the Vexari queen wasn't just unexpected, it was reshaping galactic politics in real time. The war that had been brewing for years suddenly had a complication no one had planned for. "You may exchange essence," the priest intoned. Vexara pricked her claw, letting a drop of her blood fall into a ceremonial cup. I did the same with a knife, trying not to wince. We drank. The crowd roared. "Congratulations," Vexara murmured as the ceremony concluded. "You're now the most powerful human in the galaxy." "I am a cargo hauler," I whispered back. "You were a cargo hauler. Now you're a royal consort, a diplomatic bridge, and the most protected being in Vexari space." Her mandibles clicked with amusement. "All because you lied." The reception was a blur of alien dignitaries and barely concealed threats. But through it all, Vexara stayed close, her presence a shield against anyone who might question my legitimacy. Later, in the royal chambers, she finally explained. "I chose you because you had nothing," she said, pouring 2 glasses of something that smelled like fermented starlight. "No agenda, no faction, no loyalty, except to yourself. In my world, that makes you the only person I can trust." "You trust me?" "I lied to your face. You lied to survive." "That's honest in its way." She handed me a glass. "Everyone else lies to gain power. You lied to avoid death." "I find that refreshing." I took a drink. It burned going down but settled into something warm. "What happens now?" "Now we see if you can survive being my mate." Her eyes glittered with challenge. "My court is a nest of vipers. My enemies will try to use you against me. And the humans, your people, will demand you spy for them. And if I can't handle it, then you die, and I find someone else." She said it matter-of-factly, without cruelty. "But I don't think that will happen. You talked your way out of execution with nothing but a cheap pendant and audacity. My court should be easy by comparison." I thought about my old life, the cargo runs, the loneliness, the endless nothing of space. I thought about the blade at my throat and the lie that had saved me. "I told them our hearts would beat as one," I said. "When we were close, I know." Crix reported everything. She moved closer, and I could feel the heat radiating from her carapace. "Shall we test it?" She pressed her claw against my chest, feeling my heartbeat. Then she took my hand and placed it against her thorax, where her own heart pulsed in an alien rhythm. We stood there, breathing together, and slowly, impossibly, the rhythms began to align. "Interesting," she murmured. "Perhaps you weren't lying after all." I laughed, the sound strange in the alien chamber. "I was definitely lying. Then you lied your way into truth." Her eyes met mine, ancient and knowing. "That's the most human thing I've ever witnessed." She wasn't wrong about that either. Outside, the stars wheeled in their eternal dance, indifferent to the cargo hauler who'd bluffed his way into royalty. Somewhere, my sister was probably watching the news feeds in complete disbelief. I made a mental note to send her a new pendant. A real one this time. The end.